Xbox continues to make good progress in Japan when it comes to the sale of the Xbox console. Welcome back to another video, guys. You enjoy daily content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. So as we know, the Xbox One was an absolute failure in Japan, barely selling over 100,000 units in its entire lifetime. I think it was at about 115,000 units based off of this article here. And the Xbox Series X and S, one of their big goals, you could say, Phil Spencer's talked about it many times, was to get further into Japan and try to increase their market share in that region. And Xbox have done a great job so far with the Xbox Series X and S to get a bigger foothold in Japan. Not only are the consoles themselves really great, especially with like the smaller form factor of them compared to the PlayStation 5, especially the Xbox Series S, there is also the fact now with the ecosystem, people are going to be able to sign up for Xbox Cloud Gaming and just experience the Xbox ecosystem by picking up their phone and playing games that way. And we know how much Japan loves the mobile gaming industry, how much they're huge in that market, especially with the sales of the Nintendo Switch. Now, these numbers here I'm going to talk about don't include like the amount of people who have subscribed for Xbox Cloud Gaming and the amount of people in the ecosystem. It's just strictly units sold. And as we know with Xbox, units sold isn't that main number that they base their success off of. They base their success off of how many people are within the ecosystem. But that aside, the Xbox Series X and S is doing significantly better with this generation in terms of units sold in its first year and just overall compared to the Xbox One. So let's take a look at the full picture here. So obviously the Nintendo Switch is absolutely killing it again with selling 5.3 million units in 2021. It's an incredible success story for Nintendo, the Nintendo Switch. Who knows and how long we still have with this original version. I know we just got the OLED version, but doesn't upgrade any of the internals. It's merely just a screen upgrade. I feel like we are eventually going to be getting in the next year or two a more powerful Nintendo Switch, kind of a next generational one. But we saw what Nintendo did with the 3DS and how they kept that console going for so long, kind of on life support, and people still kept buying it. So they may do something similar like that as well with the Nintendo Switch. And it'll be very interesting to see the numbers in 2022 for the sales now, especially because we have these Xboxes and PlayStation 5s and they've been out now for an entire year. Although they're still hard to get, I guess they're more prevalent in the market, you could still say, and they are going to be becoming easier to get as we go through 2022 and especially into 2023. In terms of the PlayStation 5, so that was the next biggest seller in terms of units sold in 2021. They sold 942,798 units, which is about 10 times more than the Xbox Series X and S, which was 95,598 units. Now that is a huge discrepancy. I mean, 10 times more PlayStation 5 units, but PlayStation has to push their units for them to be successful. That is their main goal, is selling as many units as possible. PlayStation is extremely more popular in Japan, and that's going to take years and years and years to see that sort of transfer or change, where I think PlayStation will always be the more popular console and the more popular company. They are a Japanese company, but you may start to see that swing go a little bit more to the center a bit in terms of more people will be buying Xboxes as well, but I don't think it'll ever surpass PlayStation sold. But Xbox with 95,000 units sold in 2021 is very, very good, especially if you think about they sold almost about 30,000 units between November 2020 when it launched and the end of December 2020. So they're sitting at around 125,000 units sold of the Xbox Series X and S in Japan with supply constraints, and they are probably pushing much less units into that market compared to other parts of the world where they know people are going to be buying them at a much higher rate. So I think it's a pretty successful story for Xbox. I think they are slowly increasing their overall market share there, and like Phil Spencer said, they're trying to go to Japan, get more games developed there, talk to developers. We know they have Tango Gameworks now. We'll have to see if this continues to progress throughout these next couple of years, and if we're going to start getting more first party or even third party big games dropping onto Xbox Game Pass. And I think that will also make a big difference. What I'm super curious to know is how many people have signed up for Xbox cloud gaming or Xbox Game Pass in Japan. And if that's a big number, and that continues to grow in that market, especially if they get more JRPGs on the service. And then if you continue down here in the article, they also talk about the PlayStation 4, which is still selling relatively well, selling 103,000 units in 2021, which is even more than Xbox Series X and S overall. But again, those numbers to me aren't very surprising. What is good to see though is the growth in the Xboxes in that market compared to the Xbox One, where they're already doing way better than the Xbox One, and we'll continue to see this as we go through this generation. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. What do you think about the total units of Xboxes sold within Japan? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Were you expecting more? Did you think they weren't going to sell as much as they did? I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and you're new here, you like what you saw throughout this video, would appreciate you hitting that subscribe button and help this channel grow, help grow this community, so we can have great conversations in the comments below. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.
We'll be right back.